I'll never forget the first time I saw the Titan. It wasn't supposed to exist, at least not yet. When the aliens came, they didn't come with guns or fleets or demands. They came with smiles, open palms, and what they called peace envoys. They said they wanted an alliance. They said humanity had potential. But potential for what exactly? That was the question burning in every corner of the United Earth Council. And I, Captain Ryan Holt of the Orbital Defense Division, was one of the few who knew the truth. The Titan wasn't a warship built for defense. It was built for deterrence, for intimidation, for the moment peace failed. And that moment came the second the aliens saw it. The first envoy ship arrived over Luna Station. Sleek, silver, silent. No visible engines, no weapons. Just a reflective hull and a symbol that to this day reminds me of a star splitting in two. They called themselves the Care-Eth Dominion, though they insisted they were no longer an empire. Just explorers, diplomats they asked to meet our leaders face to face. It sounded innocent enough, until we started analyzing their ship's radiation signature. It was leaking energy stronger than anything in our arsenal, and our scanners couldn't penetrate their hull. They said it was for shielding. Right. I've seen shielding before. This was a fortress pretending to be polite. I was stationed on Luna when the signal came through. Prepare diplomatic escort protocol. You will meet the Care-Eth delegation personally. My blood ran cold. Me, a soldier, not a diplomat, was being asked to escort alien envoys. That's when I realized Earth wasn't sending a message of welcome. They were sending a warning. If these aliens meant harm, I'd be the first to know and the first to strike. The moment they stepped out of their craft, I almost believed their act. The Care-Eth were tall, graceful, with faces that shimmered faintly like sunlight through water. They bowed, spoke in perfect English, and offered a phrase that would echo through every human channel for weeks. Your species has matured faster than expected. It sounded like a compliment, but the tone carried something else, a note of surprise, maybe even fear. I didn't understand it then, but I would soon. Our diplomats led them to the orbital conference chamber, and for the first few hours things went smoothly. They spoke of trade, cultural exchange, interstellar cooperation, but between every flattering word, they asked questions that weren't diplomatic. They were strategic. How many habitable worlds do you govern? What energy sources sustain your colonies? How fast can your military respond to a threat beyond Mars? Our delegation smiled and gave evasive answers, but I saw their eyes. Our people knew. This wasn't curiosity. This was reconnaissance. So when they requested a tour of our defense systems, it wasn't a surprise. They claimed it was to build trust. My orders were to decline politely, but instead command authorized something bold. We would show them one ship. Not a fleet, not a planet-wide network, just one vessel. A symbol of peacekeeping strength. That was the official phrase. But everyone aboard the Titan knew the truth. This was a test. Not of technology, but of fear. The Titan wasn't in the public record. It had been built in deep orbit beyond Neptune, in the shadow of gas clouds that hid its energy signature. It was a behemoth, 15 kilometers from prow to stern, powered by an experimental singularity core that could bend gravity like clay. Its hull was made of metamaterial that absorbed radar, light, and even sound. It was invisible unless it wanted to be seen. Humanity had poured every resource, every secret, every ounce of paranoia into it after the War of the Belt, when alien signals were first detected. And now the time had come to reveal it not as a threat, but as a statement. I remember the alien ambassador's expression when we told them we'd take them to witness a symbol of our commitment to interstellar harmony. They agreed, with that same strange confidence in their tone, like parents humoring a child. As our shuttle approached the Titan's coordinates, the stars around us seemed to bend, and then slowly, impossibly, the darkness itself moved. The Titan emerged from the void like a mountain waking from a long sleep. Lights rippled across its surface like 1,000 silent eyes. Even I, who'd trained on its systems for years, felt my chest tighten. The Care-Eth delegation went completely still. Their shimmering faces dimmed, color draining as their translator implants flickered. One of them whispered something in their native tongue, a sound like a gasp mixed with static, and I caught a single translated word on my earpiece. Impossible. That's when I realized they hadn't come to negotiate peace. They'd come to assess our weakness, to catalog our limits before deciding whether to rule us or spare us. And what they saw instead was something that defied their assumptions entirely. They'd expected primates with rockets. What they saw was a civilization that had learned to weaponize black holes. So that's the situation I was in, standing there in the observation deck of a shuttle, watching the Kareth stare at our greatest secret. And I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and think. What would you have done if you were me? If the so-called ambassadors in front of you had planned to enslave your world, but suddenly realized they might be outmatched? Would you strike first or let diplomacy play out? Comment below what you think, because to this day, I'm still not sure if I made the right call. I'll tell you what I did. I ordered the Titan to decloak completely. Against regulation, against protocol. The command deck went silent, every officer staring at me like I'd lost my mind. "Captain, full decloak will expose our power output to them," my first officer whispered. "Exactly," I said. "Let them see it." Within seconds, the Titan lit up the void. Its massive silhouette eclipsed the stars, reactor flares casting blue-white arcs across the alien ship's hull. Our sensors recorded immediate spikes in their life signs. Panic, disbelief. They began transmitting frantic data bursts back to their fleet. But before they could retreat, I opened a direct channel. "To the Kareth delegation," I said, my voice echoing through every frequency their translators could handle. "This is Earth's Titan-class warship Prometheus. You requested to see our peacekeeping capability. You are now witnessing its silence." Then the alien leader finally spoke. "Prometheus, you name your weapon after one who stole fire from the gods." His tone trembled, and for the first time I heard something beneath that silky diplomacy. Fear. I replied, "We name it after the moment humanity decided not to wait for permission." His eyes flickered and he turned to his aides. They whispered in their native tongue again, too quickly for our translators to process. Then, without warning, their ship turned and jumped. No goodbye, no farewell transmission. They just vanished into warp. The moment they were gone, my comms lit up with alerts from Earth Command. I thought they'd strip my rank for breaching protocol. Instead, the message came from the High Chancellor herself. "Good work, Captain." They needed to see it. The following weeks were chaos. The Kareth didn't return. Instead, dozens of alien signals appeared across our perimeter. Observation drones, scout ships, all keeping their distance. They were watching us now, studying, calculating. Humanity had gone from curiosity to potential threat overnight. Every government on Earth panicked, but at the same time, something changed in us. For the first time in history, we weren't united by fear of aliens, we were united by pride. For once, we weren't the underdogs in someone else's cosmic story. But that wasn't the end. Months later, I received a transmission on a secure channel, encrypted in Kareth frequency. It was a single message. "You should not have shown us your fire. No threats. No demands, just that." It haunted me, because I started to wonder, had I provoked something we weren't ready for? Or had I just saved Earth from annihilation? The answer came 3 days later, when deep space sensors picked up movement beyond Pluto. A fleet, not human, not Kareth either, something else entirely. The Dominion wasn't alone. They had enemies, and those enemies had been watching our exchange. They reached out, calling us kin of the flame. They said they wanted an alliance, imagine that. The same galaxy that once saw us as prey now saw us as power brokers. And all it took was one ship. The Titan became more than a weapon. It became a message carved into the stars. Do not underestimate Earth. Our species, once crawling on the ground, now commanded something the oldest empires of the void respected. And yet I couldn't shake the memory of that alien's voice. The tone wasn't anger. It was sorrow. As if by revealing the Titan, I had changed something fundamental about the balance of the galaxy. Years passed. The Titan's existence became public. Children grew up with posters of it. The word Prometheus became synonymous with humanity's defiance. But every time I looked at the stars, I wondered who else was out there, watching, preparing, waiting. Maybe showing the Titan had bought us time, or maybe it painted a target on our backs. Still, I couldn't regret it, because for one perfect moment, as that colossal ship glowed against the void and the aliens realized what we'd become, I saw it. The look of fear. Yes, but also respect. The kind of respect our species had never been given before. People often ask me, "Do you think they'll come back?" I tell them the truth, I hope they do. Because now we're ready. The Titan wasn't built just for destruction. It was built as proof that humanity could dream bigger than its fear. And if the Kareth or anyone else wants to test that dream again, they'll find out exactly what kind of species we are. The kind that doesn't kneel to gods or empires. The kind that builds its own fire, so that's my story. Maybe I went too far. Maybe I doomed us all. Or maybe, just maybe, I gave humanity its future. Tell me what you think. Was I wrong for revealing the Titan? Or was it the only way to keep Earth safe? Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you all in the next story.